likes to ask from the ACAC, the athletic coordinator of the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, Mr. Greg Meropoulos, to come on up.
Irwin is sport has played an important role. It's a key role in his whole lifetime. A successful athlete. You can read the manual there. Outstanding football player, two-sport athlete at the University of Alberta, and then 30 years as an athletic director at NAIT. Moving on after that to be an athletics administrator, executive director at the ACAC, and a mentor all the way through. In 1978, he gave me $500 and told me to coach the women's basketball team. They were 0-20 the year before. I don't think I improved on that much. About 5 years later, I thought maybe this isn't a career for me, but I wound up coaching for 20 years. But after about 5 years, I convinced Irwin to get me involved in sport administration. And he introduced me to the ACAC and the CCAA, and he's been a mentor of mine ever since. You know, I came in as a young whippersnipper, and I didn't know anything about the game. And I certainly learned that Irwin has done it all at all levels and dedicated his life to the sport. As an athletic director at the university, at NAIT for the 30 years, Irwin played a major role in the development of what we now see as the CCAA. First, with his leadership in the ACAC as a founding member, and serving on the ACAC committees in all levels, including the president. And then moving on to co-found the 4 West Championships. We've heard about them. And then as a co-founder of the CCAA. In all of that, I think he instilled the will and want for college athletes to aspire to a national championship, and he inspired a whole group of people to step forward in leadership roles, and as a result of that, you know, he stepped forward and offered to host national championships. 1989, he came up with the idea that we might host 2 national championships at the same time. Incredible. I don't know who thought about that, but he co-chaired both of those. And I think in what would be NAIT's finest hour, within an hour, we win a national championship in men's basketball and in men's hockey in the same time, within an hour. And as the story goes, the party was on after that. And Irwin was a leader in that. What hasn't been written in the book there was he was also a co-founder of the Ronald McDonald Cup, which was a competition between the University of Alberta Golden Bears and our NAIT Oogs. At the time when the NAIT Oogs were running the table of college hockey and the University of Alberta Golden Bears were #1 in Canada. That series ran for 7 years. The first year, we had 13,500 people at Northlands Coliseum to watch the game. That raised a lot of money for charity. It also built a fund, which now is the basis for our athletic endowment fund at NAIT. And so I thank you, Irwin, for your foresight and your work for doing that. Over the time that Irwin looked after the programs at NAIT, they were successful, winning 12 CCAA championships and 17 in team sports and 17 individual gold medals. And over that time, he solidly supported intercollegiate athletics, but he will balance that off with as much support for intramurals. And I think that's what I will remember about Irwin's contribution is, as much as he supported elite athletics, he also supported the masses. He knew that we were being funded by our Students' Association. His philosophy was to offer the most athletic opportunities in the broadest range, and his support for intramurals was equal to his support for intercollegiate athletics. He's been inducted into the NAIT Wall of Fame, the University of Alberta's Wall of Fame, just in May, the ACAC Wall of Fame, and now this is the 4th Wall of Fame. He'll be inducted to the CCAA Wall of Fame. So join me in welcoming Irwin Strifler to the CCAA Wall of Fame.
Thanks, Greg, for the accuracy and the truthfulness of that introduction. Seeing as I'm last, you've probably heard that if you're not the lead dog in dog sledding, the scenery never changes. The scenery from here is beautiful. Okay, I'd like to, indeed a proud moment for me to be inducted. I'd like to thank Nate and the ACAC for putting my name forward for this honor, and thank you to the committee for putting this wonderful evening together. It's amazing to me, this all started 40 plus years ago, and as I look back at my fellow inductees, a lot of that old fighting determination still seems to be evident. Back in the 70s, streaking was something that you had to do. And as one of my fellow inductees earned $50 one night for that very act, and that, of course, was after a few sodas that we were enjoying that evening. Okay, a wise man once said to me, and that could have been Yves Paquette or Don Stouffer, that if you want people to hear you, speak up. If you want people to see you, stand up. But if you want to impress people, shut up. Well, I will try and be brief, but I'll give you a little bit of history as I saw it. Okay, the Four West Championships, what was referred to earlier, had its successes in spite of the fact that everyone had no funds to cover the costs of hosting or traveling. And then somehow we made it all happen. The Four West was started with the hope of challenging the yet-to-be-established Four East. But then when we finally did all get together for a meeting, somebody brought up, why don't provincial champions go on to national champions? So, hey, that's a great idea. Consequently, the CCAA started. The problem was who was going to pay for hosting and who was going to pay for the traveling. With the support of the individual colleges, the provincial associations, and the diligent work of the CCAA office, we all made it happen in spite of the fact that no funds appeared to be available. It's amazing how successful athletic administrators can be when they want something like national championships. Nothing seems to stand in their way. With leadership shown through the CCAA has a long and prosperous future. And I'd like to pass along a story that I heard, first of all, from U of A legendary coach, Claire Drake, and then recently from the NAIT legendary coach, Perry Pern. And the story goes, when you coach, you have two things you have to worry about. One is if you win, or if you win or you lose. If you win, you have nothing to worry about. If you lose, you have two things you have to worry about. Do you keep your job or do you lose your job? If you keep your job, you have nothing to worry about. If you lose your job, or if you get fired, then you have two things you have to worry about. Are you going to be healthy, or are you going to be unhealthy? If you're going to be healthy, you have nothing to worry about. If you're going to be unhealthy, you got two things to worry about. Will I live, or will I die? Well, if you live, you have nothing to worry about. If you die, you have two things you have to worry about. Do I go to heaven, or do I go to hell? Well, if you go to heaven, you have nothing to worry about. If you go to hell, you'll spend so much time talking to referees, you won't have time to worry. Yeah. Okay, again, I'd just like to thank you. It's a real honor for me to be here, and it's a privilege to have been part of the CCAA. Thank you.